Swamini Pramananda, affectionately called as Ammaji. She's a spiritual leader and visionary.
Success of a society is not material prosperity, it soars evolution for a human race. I don't believe that the women need to lose their femininity to step into a competitive world with a man, you know. Gita teaches you the art of living. If you don't learn living in the beginning of life, you're going to live living when you're 85 years old. There's nothing left to live, no? There is no deep happiness. There is no stability. There is so much impermanence in these pursuits where I chase money or I chase power or I chase relationships or, or move countries to be somebody, to become somebody. Nahi jnane na sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. There's nothing more powerful than education.
So today, a lot of us, women, man, I don't want to put a gender bias here, but we want to have it all, success, materialistic success, spiritual enlightenment, fitness. You name it, we want to have that full.
Yes.
What is your advice? Welcome to We Women Project. Today we are in conversation with Swamini Pramananda, affectionately called as Ammaji. She's a spiritual leader and visionary who's founded the Purna Vidya Foundation based out of Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu. She's a Vedanta teacher and a Sanskrit scholar, hailing from a very illustrious Guru Shishya Parampara, being the direct and senior disciple of Swami Dayananda Saraswati. Ammaji, as an outcome of her own spiritual understanding, has authored 23 books called as the Purna Vidya. She is a spiritual giver, an educator, a social reformer who's worked deeply in the Himalayan villages, an outspoken leader who represents at international conferences around environmental concerns, and also till today continues to be inspired by Mother Ganga. I had the good fortune of meeting Ammaji first at her Uttarkashi ashram known as Tapasyalayam. Needless to say, I was drawn to her and her work, and I have had her book, Living by the Wisdom of Mother Ganga, by my side. Such an honor, Ammaji. Such a pleasure to be here in your presence. I think myself and the crew will be forever grateful to you for giving us this opportunity. Thank you. Ammaji, if I can request that, you hold such scholarliness in the Gita. I know it's impossible in a podcast to capture the essence of Gita. It's just not possible. But still, my selfishness requests you any few shlokas or any one shloka that you think you want to leave with us.
I think for all of us, there are many, what comes to my mind, Uddharet atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmaiva atmano bandhuhu atmaiva ripur atmanaha. There is no enemy in the world. You are your worst enemy and you are your best friend. It is how you look at yourself. If you pull yourself down, it is you who has to pull yourself up again. Uddharet atmana atmanam. There's no one else who can pull you down more than you yourself. It is for you to bite somebody else's statement about you. If you refuse to bite, nobody can touch you. But if you have your own complexes and so on, then it is you who has to shift that, change that. So you become your worst enemy and go into depression and conflicts and whatnot. Or you can be your best friend where you always know how to pat your shoulders, how to appreciate, how to nurture your soul. I think this is, I'm looking at the young generation when I say this because they are the best takers for the Bhagavad Gita. I was told when I was young, this is not the age to study Gita. You study Gita when you retire, when you're old. Gita teaches you the art of living. If you don't learn living in the beginning of life, you're going to live living when you're 85 years old. There's nothing left to live, no? And therefore, Gita is for the young and of course for the old and the middle age. Gita is for all.
So today, a lot of us, I mean, women, man, I don't want to put a gender bias here, but we want to have it all, success, materialistic success, spiritual enlightenment, fitness. I mean, you name it, we want to have that full
Yes.
gamut of. What is your advice?
So you'll end up with a undhiyu or a avial, all one big hodgepodge. I don't need to have it all. I am all. This having it all is because I have nothing. That is the problem. I have nothing, I am nothing, I'm a nobody. I need to become somebody and I have to do this, that, the other for acceptance. That is the fundamental problem that I have to address. When I address that, when I take care of that core that drives me to think like this, that I must have it all, you address that, enough. This whole pressure will fall off by itself. That's called spiritual awakening, that's spiritual living. Because in that drive itself, there is so much distortion, there's so much self-ignorance. That self-ignorance which is causing this deep, deep-rooted dissatisfaction with oneself makes me want all this, All aggrandizing is driven by that. So you address the root cause in spiritual education, then you won't step into that bubble anymore. It is going to burst, it's not possible, it's not true. And you don't need it also. Because the answer is not all out there. So what we need is we need Gita in our lives. Basically, I would say every one of us, are you human? Yes, if you're a human being, is one education you have not stepped into, please step in. Dve vidye veditavye paracha aparacha. Knowledge is twofold, Veda says. Knowledge of the objective world and the knowledge of the subject who is trying to know the objective world, the world of objects. Knowledge of the world of objects we learn through school, through college, through research. Whole universe we are studying. Which university teaches you self-knowledge? Which subject you have that takes you to yourself? Knowledge of the subject. Spiritual India takes you to knowledge of the subject. Gita takes you. Veda takes you. Vedanta takes you to the knowledge of the subject. In life, we need both to live a fulfilled life, Once that is there, that education is there, it's not about choosing a monk life. No, not at all. I'm talking about educating. Spiritual education is knowing my truth. So that my choices are intelligent, not fantasy based and unachievable.
Beautiful, Ammaji. Ammaji, before we step ahead, our audience can be diverse. So if you can just, in a crux, tell us what is Vedanta?
Yes.
Brief us a little.
See, Vedanta is a word that means that which is at the end of the Veda. Vedasya antaha Vedantaha. So, end of the Veda refers to Veda presents its teachings. Veda is a body of knowledge. Presents its teachings in twofold, two sections. One section is called Karma Kanda. The other section is Jnana Kanda. While karma deals with how one can achieve goals in life, how one can take care of those unknown elements that make a difference between success and failure, through prayers, through rituals. So, Karma Kanda really deals with means and ends. This is the end you want, then this is the means you follow. And this will protect your interest in achieving your end. The Jnana Kanda portion is a very beautiful portion which addresses somebody who is done with achieving means and ends in life and recognizes that there's something, I've done this for last 25 years, but this has not gotten me anywhere. In the sense, there is no deep happiness, there is no stability. There is so much impermanence in these pursuits where I chase money or I chase power or I chase relationships or, or move countries to be somebody, to become somebody. And this search goes on. And what is one really searching behind all of that? It's as I am today, there is a deep dissatisfaction. I am in search of happiness. I'm in search of peace. So tell me which human being is not, That's why we all the time, every opportunity we get, we happy birthday and happy new year and happy Christmas and happy this. We're always wishing happy because assumption is as you are, you're not happy. So I hope that you will be happy. I want you to be happy. So there is an unspoken search for happiness. And no matter I take the help of Karma Kanda, that dissatisfaction continues. So is there an answer? Does that search have a solution? Which is really a solution that is a permanent solution, not topical solution, not incidental, happiness that comes and goes with a nice breakfast or a wonderful ice cream. I'm so happy with this ice cream on a summer day. 10 minutes later, it's gone. Not an impermanent language of happiness. So, when somebody begins to search for something more in life than these known pursuits, what we call material pursuits, then Vedanta comes in and says, now you are ready, you recognize the impermanent nature, come, I have something to tell you. And what is that? The first statement is, your very search for happiness is illegitimate. Oh, it's stunning, That's how the Bhagavad Gita begins. Your search itself is illegitimate because, do you know, you are the very source of happiness? You're searching for something outside of yourself. You're never going to find the answer because the answer is not out there. The problem is you. The solution is you. And so, Vedanta makes that turnaround where one is taught how to look within. One is taught how to educate oneself about life, how to understand life experiences, the good, bad, ugly, how to understand the blueprint of life, What is the master plan with which I came?
Mm.
How am I to educate myself on how to move forward?
Mm.
Amazing. It's an amazing journey in Vedanta where you you relearn, you re-educate yourself about what is spirituality, you know. And the end of it all, the culminating point, the rahasyam, the secret is this great master equation. And we know many equations. E equals mc square. Who doesn't know? Yeah, in school itself we learn. But this master equation declares that thou art. You are that.
Mm.
In fact, you're not seeking small bits and pieces of crumbs of happiness.
Mm.
Your search has been for the infinite.
Mm.
And that search is because you have not known who you are.
Mm.
So Vedanta opens up. It's a mirror.
Mm.
It shows you who you truly are. The scriptures are a mirror to your essential nature.
Mm. So, Ammaji, can you remember when the early seeds of spiritualism, when you wanted to learn Vedanta, can you attribute it?
You know, it's so vague for me because when I was 3 years old, my parents met Swami Chinmayananji in 1962,
Oh.
and they really took to him as the guru. So we grew up in the ashram environment,
Oh.
you know, in the
Okay.
sense the value for sadhus, value for sannyasa, for spiritual education, these were cultivated by my parents.
Mm.
They wanted us to study the scriptures, they encouraged.
Mm.
So it all started very early, you know,
Mm.
as Balvihar, children going for religious classes on weekends.
Mm.
Then Yuva Kendra when we were teenagers.
Mm.
And then that led to learning a course
Mm.
of a residential course of Vedanta. So it was a process. I found myself in a
In an environment.
process, in an environment, and what my older brother did is what I did, you know. So he set the
Mm.
trend and I
Mm.
picked up on what he did. So
Mm.
it was just a very smooth entry
Into this.
into it. Yes, yes. And so the qualities of saintliness,
Mm.
I was very drawn to sainthood. And when I was about 11 years of age,
Mm.
was in I think 1971, somewhere there, Dayanandji came to Mumbai Chinmaya Mission Ashram for the first time,
Mm.
and it was my birthday.
Oh.
So my parents took me there to take his blessings.
Mm.
I will never forget that meeting because I remember seeing him, and it was a recognition for me.
Mm.
He was not a new person. It was a
Mm.
deep recognition.
Mm.
And I remember seeing him and weeping.
Mm.
I don't know why
How
I
old
wept.
would you have been?
11,
11.
about 11 years of age.
Mm.
So he called me, and parents were there and kept me on his lap, and with his angavastram, you know, he kept the whole
Wiping your.
time wiping my tears for about 15 minutes. His whole thing was all wet.
Oh my God.
And that was the beginning of that bond,
Guru Sishya.
you know.
Mm.
And after that, I was already familiar with saintliness and saintly qualities. So for me now, I had met a saint
Mm.
who imbibed these beautiful qualities that I read with Baba.
Mm.
And so I used to ask him, Swamiji, I want to be like you.
Mm.
How can I become like you?
Mm. Mm.
You have so much love. You have so much embrace and acceptance, and whoever you are okay with him. There's no judging a person in any way. Just so much love for who you are. And he would always say, I became like this because I studied the scriptures. Study the Shastra, you will become like me. Learn what the scriptures have to say, you will become like me. This went into my heart very early. And I think this became my personal pursuit, So while I went through school and college and all of that, but at the same time, deep within, I think in the child's heart, tender heart, these kind of statements were very impacting.
So, and after that, how did your spiritual sadhana progress, Ammaji, alongside your education?
Yes. So I completed my high school, and every vacation I used to go and spend time with Swami Dayanandji in the ashram.
Where was he then?
Mumbai,
Powai
Powai. Yes. So 1 month I would be with him. And then when I completed high school, I wanted to join the study course for 3 years. That was in 1975. And he said, no, you're too young. You must go through college education and get a degree. And I said, but what does that have to do? No, you have to have a degree before you take a break. So then I went through my college. I completed my bachelor's. Then by the time I completed my bachelor's, he had completed that course of teaching, where my elder brother studied after his medicine. He had done medicine, and then he joined that course. And when my turn came, Swamiji was going to Northern California to teach in Chinmaya Mission West, CMW.
Okay.
Northern California.
Okay.
So I said, but now I'm ready and you're leaving me. And he said, if you can, follow me. That's not easy,
Yeah.
But with divine grace, I followed him and went to California and stayed with him and went through the whole 3.5 years of Gurukul Vasa with my guru. And learned Sanskritam, Vedanta, all the disciplines of a Gurukula life.
So what does the discipline entail, Ammaji?
A study entails just seeing what is being said, where I am concerned, who am I? What is my truth? Where have I come from? Where am I going? Why am I here? Why am I related to these people, my biological family? Why not some other people, my neighbor's family, for instance? So there are many questions about life that every intelligent thinker thinks some point in their life,
Right.
The scriptures provide amazing answers to all of this. India has been the spiritual, I would say, civilization of the planet, the mother civilization of the planet, not for no reason.
Yeah.
And it has everything to do with our Vedantic teachings. And so that study takes time. And my teacher was a traditional teacher, man of great vision and wisdom. And he believed that anything you want to really learn with authenticity, you must go into the language in which it was given.
Again, Puja Swamiji said you should do your masters at that point of time. And you had to work.
Yes. No, he didn't actually say you need to do masters. He, after I completed the study course, I didn't see any other path that it was very natural that after learning so much, you take to this life. So I wanted sannyasa when this was in 1982, 83.
21, 22 years old.
And every time I asked something, he would say, you're too young. You're too young. And you should work. I was not convinced. Why should I work for a livelihood, It will be given, because his own teachings I would answer back and say, he only said it will be given. Have faith and it will be given. So I have faith, I'll be looked after. And he said, no, that's all okay. He was pragmatic. That's all okay. But you must know the world. You must know the value of money, the value how society lives. Otherwise, you will be a sadhu who knows nothing about anything. How will you help people? When they come to you with problems, you won't know where they are coming from. What is their context? You must work. And I was in the US at that time. No, who will give me a job? My education is in India. So it was natural that I went through education in the local universities. So I joined NYU. I did my master's. I became a microbiologist.
Wow.
And then I began to earn, and I was in one rhythm now. It's very interesting. So in that rhythm, uh, I was a good student.
Clearly.
So and so I got a straight A's. I had 4.2 average. So I applied for a MD, PhD programs in different universities, and I got in Albany Medical School for a MD, PhD, 7 years, a Fulbright scholarship. And I said, all right, now I know which way I'm going. And when my guru visited the US, I was going to join in fall. He came in summer. So very enthusiastically, I told him, I have great news, Swamiji. I'm going for this MD, PhD program, and from September I'm joining. And he heard me and he said, what for? And I said, what for me? You only told me I have to earn and, So he said, that's a rat race. That's entering into a rat race. You don't need that. Why do you need that? So you just teach and I will lose you. You will lose Vedanta. You will lose this, what you have gained so much. Your life is for nurturing this, not for taking another path. That's not, you'll be stepping into it'll sidetrack you. No, I don't accept that, he said. That's it. For me, Guru Agnya was the last word. That was one quality, I never questioned his decision. Even if it went against my
Core.
understanding, there was a trust. I'm a very trusting person, basically. So that got dropped. And I continued to teach. I was teaching and I was working. That was my few years.
In the US.
Yeah, until he was convinced that I had enough experience when he finally said, all right, I need you now. You come, resign and come. And so that's how I took to my sannyasa life.
Ammaji, another very beautiful aspect, and you mentioned it also, is how your brother and you have, possibly co-journeyed
Yes.
this, and you'll have retained your individuality and yet been together throughout. I think it is beautiful.
This is a very big gift I enjoyed.
Can you talk to us?
He's the most loving brother any sister could have. Very sensitive, very strong, very ethical, very spiritual, very wise. And he was always there as an older brother, the protector. So I always had that male protector for me. And we have been, I feel we have been soulmates from before. Very close, through and through.
Today,
So,
where is he? Today,
he lives in the US.
he lives in
So we all were there. And then my life brought me back to Rishikesh and Ganga. And then once I saw Ganga, I had no heart to go back to the Western world. So I settled back while my parents and my brother continued in the US.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that would have been a very big decision. What were your thought processes? What was your mind frame when you decided to come back to India? You spent 10 years in the US, Ammaji?
I was there for 15 years.
15 years.
15
okay.
years, yeah.
So how was the transition? What was going on in?
I don't, clearly remember a thought process because I was with Dayananji. I was always guided by my guru. He put me on this project of writing books, for culture-based value education. That took a few years. And those years I lived on Ganga banks in his ashram in Rishikesh. And I think for me, Ganga became really my companion. She was, when I was little, I had been to Rishikesh. She was like a playmate. I could talk to her. She would respond to me. She would give me ideas. All my creativity, my creative side of Ammaji, I feel has always come from Ganga, Because I become creative on her banks. When I go to other places, I don't have creativity in me emerging the way it emerges on her bank, So she's been my, really my soul. And today I see her as my mother, my universal mother. And so her is a deep, deep bond.
And your book very beautifully encapsulates this bond. And yeah, I think it's a fascinating. Gangaji herself
and I know her presence is there in Himalaya. Her presence is very much there.
Ammaji, on the very same banks, you also wrote the Purna Vidya, like you mentioned, the 23 books.
Yes.
I think it's a work of a lifetime, and how it got disseminated and carried forward.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us briefly about?
This was, it started as a need in the US. So the first generation immigrant population, the immigrants who are raising the first generation kids growing up there, the American kids. So there has been a divide, a big, big divide between the population that migrates and the population that
exists,
that grows up from grassroots, spends their childhood. And the divide has a lot to do with culture, with the philosophy, with practices, with customs, with the manners, festivals. And in the US, think of it, in the 70s and 80s, where the migrant population was very small.
Yeah.
And so the children growing up, the parents have a very hard time communicating, trying to protect Indian traditions in a foreign land.
Right.
They don't have the wherewithal in explaining why we do what we do, because they never learned that way. They just did what they did because their parents did. Their grandparents did this way. This Surya Namaskar, okay, this was going on at home, or Sandhya Vandana was going on, or whatever customs. It's the family customs. Nobody questions why, father, dad, why do you do this? Why do you put this? They don't know. And they need not know, but they will do it because everybody does it, we do it. So we grew up in a culture where there were no choices. It was given.
Yeah.
Practices were given, and there were consistency in the environment, so you just imbibed.
Yes.
kids who don't grow up in an environment, home culture, where the society culture is not in sync, they grow up totally different.
Yeah.
Step out of the house, a totally different society. And in the home, parents are drilling home culture, which is connected to roots in India. The kids have nowhere to place that. So they grow up confused.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of request to Puja Swamiji, my guru, to do something about bridging this gap. Something where culture can be explained, why of things can be explained. And there was nothing available in our tradition. So I used to teach children classes, adult classes in New York. I had more than 150 children. Every week they were coming to me for learning. And he said, this is your project. So he gave this project to me and my brother Dhiraji, who was a adult child psychiatrist. He said, you all take care of this. Create something for young people and the parents. That was the beginning of Purna Vidya. So we created a culture-based value education, a playway method of instruction, and a very good pedagogy based on the age level of the child. Topics were selected. So first 6 years is all about the itihasas and Puranas, the mythology.
Beautiful.
Panchatantra, Puranic tales, Ramayana, Bhagavata, Mahabharata. First 5 years course with hundreds of games in it. And then from 6th year onwards, we go into the academics of Sanatana Dharma. So what is value of a value? Why do we have these disciplines? Why do we fast? Why do we worship the sun? Why, why this kind of dress? Why this type of ornamentation? What is a Hindu Panchangam? What is the lunar festivals? What is a Gotram? What does the word Hindu mean? What is, why we worship the divine in different forms? What is the significance of that? What is Navagraha, planet worship? Why do we worship elements? So all this I have taken topics and elaborated. So this is all there in Purna Vidya. It was a 5 years of research. Lot of research work was done and a beautiful team supported it. And that's how these books emerged as really first of its kind in our country. Available for masses, for public, for anyone who wants to take it up, teach culture-based value education to the young generation. So adults get to learn, parents get to learn.
I think some of these answers I might not mind myself, go back and read them. Yeah.
Educationalists, it's been in schools all over India and abroad, in Australia, Sydney, Melbourne, schools, these are being used. The books, it's being used in temples and communities in UK, US, Middle East, Singapore, many Malaysia, many countries have taken up Purna Vidya teachings.
And such an enormous work done by you for the society.
Divine work and a great opportunity for us to be able to do something and offer back to this great ancient heritage, the Guru Parampara, a tradition which has been held with integrity, high integrity, is thanks to the Guru tradition, They are the ones who wrote so much literature. There was a time when paper was not there, Xeroxing was not there, cut paste was not there. Every copy had to be handwritten on palm leaves. And they did it, Lifetimes, lives and lives were spent on palm leaf writing and protecting Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, math, Vedic mathematics, the scriptural teachings, so much Paninian Sanskritam, so all palm leaf work. So what is our work? Nothing. This contribution is nothing compared to what they did. Their lives were given in, I would say, tyaga, They were proud to give up things.
I don't see you any different, Ammaji. In my eyes, I don't see you any different.
I'm amazed at their minds where today we are proud when we can aggrandize. That was the times when people were proud that they didn't have anything. They were free and they were happy. They didn't want crutches. They didn't want their name anywhere. There's so much literature which has no name. Because their focus was knowledge, not my name coming into the picture. You see? It was always an offering to the knowledge tradition. That attitude is absolutely priceless. Very humbling,
In this journey, another thing that struck me is, almost like why We Women Project happens is because in our corporate lives or in our daily lives, many times we don't find enough female mentors, female colleagues, and all that in the world that I possibly live in Mumbai. And when I read your book, and then it struck me that in your path,
it's the same story.
It's much worse.
It's much worse, yeah.
Yes, so no men. In fact, you humorously say the only people there were celestial beings, right?
Yes.
So how, the lack of women mentors or lack of people that you could approach, how did that pan out in the...
Yeah, this was another challenge. In fact, I had this challenge even in the sannyasa, because in the tradition, the sannyasa is not given to women, So there is, it's all a technical thing, and it's there in the book, those details. I don't step into that. But to answer your question, yes, that was something I was searching for. And I would say I was very fortunate in one way, because also being an artist in my earlier life, So I always believed in the feminine. And so to be in society, to be a good survivor, to be successful, so to speak, I have never believed that women, modern women who are educated and who are with the men folk in the careers, I don't believe that the women need to lose their femininity to step into a competitive world with a man, Because they have their masculinity for their strength. So we must tap what is our strength in this body, right? And so the feminine qualities are very endearing.
Very endearing.
And if one can nurture this without being, without being diffident in your career world, I think it's a great strength. One will blossom as a beautiful woman who could protect her femininity and yet make it in the marketplace. So with that conviction, when I began to look for women who have, so to speak, made it, it was not easy for me to, because I had my idea of what does that mean, and that's where I thought of beginning with women or feminine that would attract my attention. It was only the goddess, So it started with the goddesses. So I found myself during that phase of my life switching over in affinity to the goddess, to the divine feminine, to the goddess. That's how Mukambika, that's how Ganga. And they kept me growing and blossoming with that divine feminine strength, not seeing it as a weakness. And with this rhythm within, when I was searching in the Himalayas, I did meet some beautiful, beautiful women saints, and I really, really cherish them with my heart and soul because they were absolutely, I mean, they were so, they're like celestial beings themselves, you know.
Yeah.
Very beautiful.
You've been gracious to share some pictures of them. You know, the look in the eyes.
Yeah.
It's just.
And the strength they had,
Yeah, and
the courage they had. And they're so frail and fragile, simple, innocent, but so trusting in the universe. And one of them lived in Tapovan for 7 years. 7 long years in a cave in ice and snow. Never came down. Even up to Gangotri, she never came. Another one in the floods. The whole valley is running away from the banks of Ganga and going up the mountain to protect their lives. And she just sits there waiting for the floods to come so she can offer her prayers. When I met her, I asked her, I said, but how could you do that? Why would you do that? She said, why not? Every day I've been praying to Ganga, doing pujas. I said, but that day you asked somebody to bring big plates of flowers and garlands and all that. I said, that was not the time to do that. No. That was the time to do that because she was coming in her glorious form. She was coming in her full glory. Won't I receive my mother who comes to me in full glory? That's it. She has no concept of fear. She doesn't care about losing her life. Nothing. Nothing. His mother is coming. Let me worship her in style. And the miracle happened right there in front of hundreds of people who were on the roadside watching this miracle. How the waters came. And it came and she's holding this plate of offerings. It snatches the plate from her hands, the wave rose, snatched, and then took it away and never rose again. So she had water all around, but she was right there. She was saved, you know. So I've seen these kinds of women, tapaswinis, you know, women of great penance and simplicity, trust, and sacrifice. They become goddesses. So I did discover later on. Yeah. I was also ready for that.
You were ready for that.
Yes, you know.
Yeah, that was my next question because all of this took you back to Gangama, took you back to the Gangetic plains.
Yes.
And you did your own pilgrimage right up to Tapovan.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about that, Ammaji?
How life is a pilgrimage. It's been a pilgrimage, you know. In fact, that was a celebration of the pilgrimage. That's all. Going into the villages, meeting the people, sitting with them, talking to them about their experiences, and just recognizing that one thing common I saw in that travel, one thing that works wonders is trust. Simplicity and trust. The villagers have it, the sadhus had certain simplicity, you know. They've been living life, the as is life. Because Himalayas is a harsh place.
Yeah.
It's not all,
Yes.
it's not living in
absolutely.
hotels. It's not a hotel culture, you know. You have some cave somewhere, you have some corner somewhere. You don't know where your next meal will come from. And what do you have? What do you have with you to expect a meal? You don't have money, you don't have people, you don't have anything. But you have trust, 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 and only trust, Shraddha. I've taken to this life for the divine, divine sees it, divine will take care of me. That power of that trust is just fascinating. It will never fail you. It is said in the Gita, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. You have Shraddha, that Shraddha will never fail you in life. And in all these lives, you see this. They live with faith. They know their gods. They know their Nag Devata. They know when you go and pray to them, they will take care. They have no doubt. One villager tells me, you know, there was a drought season and there was no rain, and their village deity told them we have to go up to the other deity who's 6 hours walk up the mountain. And if we go there and do a havan there, he will bless. This entire village, 400 people, start climbing that mountain with the samagri, you know, with all the puja materials. And then there's one of those village boys was working for me, and so he told me, oh, they're all going. I couldn't go. I had to come to the ashram. So I said, well, why are they going? For this puja. I asked, you do this puja and rain will come? You think the rain will come? Because it's been drought for 1 month. He was so confused with this question. And he answered me, I mean, if the rain won't come, then why would we do the puja? Why would we do puja if the rain is not supposed to come? When we do puja, the rain is supposed to come. Of course, rain will come, Ammaji. I don't understand this question. He got confused. That shows what? The confusion was here, not there.
Yeah.
His Shraddha was clear. And when they did the prayers, next day, some drizzle happened. I saw some drizzle because I was right there. So I told him, oh, your havan has worked. It's drizzling. It's raining. No, I said it's raining. He laughs and says, you call this rain? You don't know what is rain. You wait and see what our devatas will do. You see what happens tonight. He was so clear, you know, not an iota of doubt in prayers. This is a villager, not a monk, a villager talking this language. And most of them have this kind of convictions. And next day I meet him, whole night it has been pouring rain. Next day pouring rain. Day after pouring rain. Something had shifted, you know. So it's learning to communicate, you know. Prayer is about communication. Prayer is about connect. We think prayer is about asking, listing. I've come to you, oh God, now this is my list, please fulfill them. Why should he? Prayer is about connecting. How you connect with the higher world, you know. And that takes becoming subtle within.
And listening to the
Learning to listen, learning to hear, not just our thought world. We only hear ourselves because we are so caught up in our thought world. If I can just quieten my thought world, silence it, there's a huge universe opens up to hear, and it's talking to you. They talk to you, but I must know how to listen. No,
Yeah.
that is spiritual living.
Yeah.
I find that trust is a very big factor, and willing to ride life with all its upheavals. They will always say, they won't blame the deities. They will say it's our karma. When the floods were there, and I stayed back in my ashram, my cows were there. I could not. It was too late. We could not take them out. It was 10 o'clock night. Floods had come. Ganga was rising, and I could not open my gate to step out. So I thought, okay, tonight I don't know whether we'll survive. Me and the cows were there. So what happened was, there was some message the villagers got that one Mataji's ashram got washed away.
Oh.
They got worried it's me.
Oh.
So they came down and Ammaji, are you there? They were calling out at 2 a.m. I said, of course I'm here. I'm here with my Lakshmi Gomati. I had 2 cows, So then they jumped in from the fence and they said, oh, you shouldn't be here. Let's go. And I said, no, I cannot go. How can I go? They are here. I can't leave them to die. I am going to be here with them. Okay, then we'll also be here with you. They didn't go back. And I insisted, but no, we won't leave you here. You will give up your life for the cow. We'll give our lives for you. And they stayed. And then I saw something. They are talking to Ganga. Please calm down. Don't be so angry with us. We accept it's all our fault. We have been selfish. We did not take care of our lands. We send our young children to Dehradun, to the city for more money. We became greedy. So it's all our fault. It's our karma. But don't be angry. You are mother. You are all your mother. Mothers and gods don't get angry. You calm down.
They're saying this to
They're
Ganga.
telling this to Ganga in Gadwali language. It's not you, it's all. We accept it's our fault. We have become greedy and selfish. Just see the maturity, see the sensitivity of the village mind. Will we say that?
Never. I mean, I can say it upfront, never. But
we don't think like that, But they have learned to live in harmony with those waters. She is mother for them. Himalayas are father for them. The trees, the birds, they feed them every day, they look after. Every tree matters, they worship them. It's all family. That's the family, the cows. So that is harmony. That's living in unity. That's being interconnected with life, isn't it? That's all we want. What else is a language of oneness? True. I saw this in my journey, moving villages and meeting people, sitting with them. How loving, whether they have something or not for the family, they always keep you royally. They'll sleep on the floor, but you will get the bed. They may take one less roti, but you will have a big paratha for you.
That way of experience.
That atithyam, the hospitality and the warmth to serve, selflessly serve. I learned this from the villagers. When you serve, just serve. Don't put any condition. They give me this, and then I put condition in Purna Vidya. Please come learn and then serve. As you learn, you serve, because otherwise nobody will come,
Ammaji, now coming to your self-discovery process, I think I got a glimpse of it in the book, the lovely book that you have written. and one of my favorite, amongst my many favorites, one of my favorite chapters. Here you speak about a period when you feel that you have stopped hearing or feeling God. There is an isolation. I'm amazed how you decided to even speak about it and write it for all of us. And I think that fascinated me a lot. But I want to understand, Ammaji, what went through you during this period.
So those were the times I went to Mukambika temple. I stayed there. I did my sadhana, a lot of prayers, seeking answers, looking for answers from the goddess. So I feel those answers are all there in the book. I have shared, and I thought, if this is the truth of one sincere life, I'm sure there are many other sincere seekers who are also struggling, and maybe this will help somebody. So we are seekers of truth, and what else should be in the book except one's truth? If one talks about one's spiritual life and you're afraid to speak of your truth, and just want to present one side of the story, that is unfair. So I decided to present as is.
And I mean, and that rawness is just beautiful, Ammaji, because even
thank you. It means a lot to me also to hear this.
No, as worldly individuals, we always want to cover up and show the best side of ourselves, right? I think it's the innate human nature.
In fact, I was advised, Ammaji, don't put these things because people will be very disappointed. There are a few people who told me the way they perceive you, and when they read that, it will shake them up. It will not go anywhere. Why do you want to bring it out? Just delete. I said no.
It takes a different kind of courage.
Yeah, I said
no.
It takes a different kind
of
let them
truth.
go. But my spirituality includes this. If I'm a person who inspires a person, they must also know what we all go through as human beings. And there's nothing wrong in being human. Being able to be God, you have to first be human. In humanness is godliness. When you cannot express your humaneness because of other shadow self, your little inner devils, then one needs to recognize and do something about that and see what that entails, no? And so it's a very important part of a human journey.
One thing that I really loved again is what you say is that at Mukambika temple, finally, after a lot of soul searching, you understood that what you considered as failure needed to be embraced lovingly. I think that is a very, very strong,
yes.
I don't know, emotion, thought process. I don't know what it is, but it answers so much of the melancholy that exists in the world. Even if we can, because failure again is what we perceive it to be. And if we can take that in and we can embrace it.
It's a perception. It's a judgment of life. It's being unfair to life, really speaking. Because if failure is a judgment with reference to our expectation, whether our expectation took care of all the components required to get somewhere, we don't look at that. But we have an expectation and we could not reach there, and so we are a failure. So, is there really a failure in life? Is there something called a failure? Is there something called a success? How are you defining your success is how you'll define your failure. If you define your success based on, if I have a $1 billion in my bank, I'm successful.
Mm.
For somebody else, success may not be defined by your $1 billion.
Mm.
I may define success through my touching Godhood.
Mm.
I may be zero in penny,
Mm.
but I have wealth in wisdom. No.
Mm.
So how do you decide success and failure? On what? On what parameters?
Mm.
It's so subjective.
Mm.
And it's so much also influenced by society.
Mm.
Society and family and other people, others, friends, peer pressures. So when we subject ourselves to that and then judge ourselves based on what we could achieve and not achieve, nobody talks about the process.
Mm. Mm.
Every time the process is the success story.
Mm. Yeah.
It's the process that despite not reaching there, I remained in the process. Or in spite of reaching there, I remain in a process. To me,
So true. Yeah.
That is completion.
Yeah.
It's not about the destination, it's about being in the journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
facing the challenges gracefully.
Yeah.
You can never be a failure in that.
True. So true.
A toddler who tries to climb a sofa and then he falls, he can't climb. And then again he tries and then he falls and then he finally manages, and parents are watching and they allow him to do this, and finally he makes it on the sofa.
Mm.
Now a success story. He's so happy. He's beaming, smiling, parents are clapping, wow, But the kid doesn't sit there. He doesn't sit there. He again comes down. And again he struggles. Again struggles, again falls, again struggles. And finally goes up there. Now you are successful, right? Stay there. But you can't, you won't. He will again come down and again try until he has mastered the process. For the child, for the growth, the evolution is mastering the process. Eventually you will get there, but the process is what you master. It's not about destination. We always talk about destination. We always talk about what is the end. Hey, let's look at, you're in the process. You've achieved. Every day is you cross the day without heartburns, without fracturing your leg, without having accidents. You have lived a day successfully. You kept your head on your shoulders. You have served society. You have done your duties. Isn't this success?
True. So true.
So, how we define success? And failure is, if it's going to be an end point, then sure there'll be failures. But if it's the process is what I'm looking at, then it's an embrace of life, daily living, daily life, daily growth, daily evolution. I'm ever successful. In fact, there is no failure. Failures, to have a failure, you should have success. But when I don't have such an end in view, then my life is success all the way. Where is failure?
So beautiful.
As long as I'm wiser than yesterday, I'm a success story. So this is a spiritual perception, a spiritual approach to living successfully. It's about marking soul's evolution, not looking at material prosperity. Success of a society is not material prosperity, it's soul's evolution for a human race. Because we are conscious being, very conscious of ourselves and our inadequacies and so on,
Maybe a related question, but Ammaji, now you've traveled length and breadth, you've had your own self-discovery journey, gone through villages. You've seen every kind of a human being, So why do you think humans suffer pain? Why does the duality
Because we don't know how to gracefully ride pain. We don't have to suffer pain. We have to ride it. We have to build our threshold to pain so we can ride it. Our culture has ways to build threshold. We keep dumping food in our stomach every few hours, whether we are hungry or not, because we are afraid to feel hunger. Very simple, We don't want to feel hunger. We always want to feel, oh, stomach is full. You talk to any Ayurveda man, you say, don't eat until you are hungry. We are worried, but when I'm hungry, will there be food? So our logic is always it's driven by fear of insecurity in the grossest level to the subtlest. So we need to be able to, pain is the package of life. Did anybody ever tell you life will be a bed of roses? Nobody told me that. And therefore, pain and pleasure, these are, sukha dukkhe samay kritva labha labho jaya jayo. Samay kritva, learn to have equanimity. Because opposites is life. Life in the relative world means dealing with duality. If there is sunrise, there will be sunset. If there is tall, there will be short. If there is pleasure, there will be pain. It is the package, So, when pain comes, how should I handle? Build your threshold. So, we have vratams. That's why every faith has these pilgrimages and fastings and all of these things, observing silence. They're all ways to
build your
threshold. To be able to say no and I'm okay. That's how you ride pain and take it as part of life, But we suffer pain. Why should we suffer pain? It's here. Suffering is here. Crossing pain is receiving pain with grace. If there is no pain, you don't even know where to pay attention. Pain is a blessing, You're walking on the path and you get a thorn in your toe. And if you have no pain, the next thing you will come home, there will be no toe, Because there's no pain. I didn't know. So pain is a blessing where it helps you draw attention, to pay attention. Similarly, emotional pain are areas when they happen, I have to pay attention there and address them. That requires prayer, that requires trust, that requires courage, that requires guidance, requires faith. That's how you build your spiritual side of your life to be able to address life properly. We don't have to suffer. Humanity has no reason to suffer. We have to only learn to cross pain through building our threshold.
My next question is for the youngsters of today, I feel they go through a lot of competitiveness. There's social media, at least in even my times of growing up, there wasn't such availability of information, availability of knowing what exactly the other person is doing. So there is, the fabric is changing. It's very subtle, but it's changing. Anxiety and, things like that builds. What will make it more fuller for them when in their journey?
I think young people's confusion is not their fault. The society is setting them up for that. It is we adults who are orchestrating the current society. they are the actually they are the, I don't want to
Yeah,
use the
is it
word
the
victims is a strong word.
benefactors or victims?
Yeah, but they are the ones, the fallout is with them, no?
Mm.
It is because we have not understood.
Mm.
We are the ones who are trying to embrace a success story,
Mm.
you know, with
Mm.
models which are breaking down in the
Mm.
Western world.
Mm.
These are not successful models. They're breaking down models, and we are chasing those models.
Mm.
It's very important in education that every Indian, I would say, every young person
Mm.
must be given the education of their roots, their heritage.
Mm.
India is not an ordinary country. It has a heritage that goes back to thousands of years, which no country in the planet can boast of.
True.
Is that a is something that we just ignore and gloss over in our education system, which we are doing?
Mm.
I think children need to be given that education. Bring a pride of their cultural roots. Yes, there is so much for me to know. I don't know,
Mm.
but there is. My
Mm.
land is rich.
Mm.
My land had great ancestry.
Mm.
My ancestors were brilliant.
Mm.
They were the first discoverers of this mathematical zero. They were the first surgeons of human race. They were the ones who made steel, ships, and the Damascus sword and so on, which was so unique, the first of its kind.
Mm.
It was the first country that had great grammar. They had coded language, which the planet, there was no nation that ever knew what is coding
Mm.
until modern times.
Mm.
But my country had thousands of years ago.
Mm.
Give them some pride of their cultural heritage.
Mm.
Let them know that they belong to very powerful roots. Now, people were not just spiritually successful, they were materially, prosperity was, a whole world came to India. For what? For material prosperity,
Mm.
to grab, to loot.
Mm. True. Yeah.
So our ancestors could achieve all of that, no? The gems, the textile industry, the silks. Which country could boast of in those days? Which they're all your ancestors. So the more our young people, Indians, I'm saying, it doesn't have to be faith based. If you're an Indian, do you know your Indian ancestry of being born in this country?
Mm.
Give them that education, give them that pride. Don't deny them
Mm.
that knowledge.
Mm.
We have denied our children very important backbone, strength of our upbringing.
Mm.
We have denied them. I'm sorry to say, it's the fact of India, it's a tragedy of our country
Mm.
that we have not had the boldness, the courage to declare who we really are.
Mm.
Our indigenous civilizations, our kings, our glories, phenomenal.
Mm.
Our architecture, our sculpture, our science, our name the fields, you know.
Mm.
That's why we were looted again and again for 1,000+ years,
Mm.
because there was something solid to loot.
So, yeah.
Education. There's no better. Nahi jnane na sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. There's nothing more powerful than education. Educate every child, that will bring such an empowerment. No kid will be confused or lost or scattered.
Mm.
With this knowledge, now you go out there and win. You will be a winner.
Mm.
But don't make them weak and then say answers are outside.
Mm.
Where the outer world is coming here for answers. It's our problem, not their problem. We have put them on a wrong track, is how I believe, and it is time we correct it.
Mm.
They are innocent. They will listen. And they are intelligent now. They understand. In fact, they do better than we did when we were of their age. They're much smarter.
Yeah.
So we need to change our approach. Our education system has to be revamped. All will be well.
Great point, Ammaji. Validly taken, absolutely. Ammaji, fascinating stories on Avadutas and Babas, and you've given them, I think, their rightful place with pictures, with descriptions of their journey in the book. And I personally like to recount your own experience with Sitaram Baba, even when we were at Uttarkashi. You had spoken about it, and very fascinating. So, if you can just briefly talk to us about your experience. And I think at this fag end, when you asked him what his advice for you, I don't know if I'm wording it right.
Yeah.
But he thought about it and told you Vairagya.
Yes.
So I just like to hear about it from you.
Yes, there's just so much with these people. Sitaram Baba was 120 years old when I met him. A very petite little man, and there's many miraculous stories about him. He lived very close to my ashram. He would take 4 a.m. bath in Ganga, some winter, summer, And for everything, he had his own logic. You tell him, don't you feel cold? He says, I'm going to my mother. Why will I feel cold? So he always had a way of looking at things which was not normal. And one time he came to the ashram. I'll just tell you one little story. And he said, oh, they are all here. They're all here. Look, so many are here. That's why I like your place more than mine, he said. I said, Babaji, who's here? And he said, they're all here. Can you not see them? It's about 20 years ago, this episode. I don't see anybody. And he said, you cannot see with these eyes. Close your eyes, Then, yeah, of course. So I closed my eyes and I sat and I said, Babaji, I don't see anyone. And he said, you don't see anyone? No, you see, they won't just show themselves to you. They just because you want to see them, they should appear to you. They don't do like that. Then what should I do? I asked him. You said open eyes don't work, close eyes. Now close eyes do. What else should I do? Then he said, you do what you need to do. When time is right, they will do what they have to do for you. You don't do things with expectations. You do your sadhana, you do your dhyana, you do what you came here for. When time is right, they will know. And they will do their work. So it was a very casual statement and he walked away. But it was a powerful message for me.
Yeah.
So these Babas were like that. The Sadhvis I met, the Tapaswinis, they said little things, but what they said were very, very precious for a seeker, for a sadhaka. Any sadhu would gobble that. And towards the end of his life, I met him. When I met him, I knew I would see him again. So I asked him, he was bedridden, and I asked him, I said, Babaji, if you were to give one message for seekers, sadhus, because we have so many sadhanas we do, if just one thing that is the key, what would you say? And he said, thought about it, and he says, Vairagya. He says, if you want the non-physical dimension of life to open up for you, Those doors will be closed as long as you are driven by physicality, where your senses pull you to the physical world. If your mind is here, those doors will be closed. When you move away from this, that means when there's detachment, then
Vairagya means
Vairagya means detachment. So when you shift your attention from physical and senses, catering, feeding the sense organs through sense objects and ambitions in the physical world, when you move away from that, those doors will open up for you to enter. Vairagya is very important. You must have a detachment to move to the higher.
next plane.
Yeah.
So, Ammaji, as we are today, you run two ashrams, one in the hills, one in Coimbatore. You run a Goshala, various social empowerment activities around education, around social causes, environment causes. You lead a very busy, giving life, and you make time for teaching, for sadhana, for people's growth. My question here is, we don't live such busy lives. We make it busy for ourselves in the city, and we also find excuses why we can't do a prayer today, why we can't follow a particular discipline. So where is it that we are going wrong? Or even the food, there should be some discipline around food, there should be some discipline around meditation. Where is it, you think?
So if we have not understood the value, see, we value something, but the value of the value is not there, See, nobody has time. I also have no time. But you always have time for something which is most important to you. So that means where you have prioritized what is important. I don't have time for prayer or sadhana, but I have time for scrolling the phone. I have time for getting a manicure and a pedicure or going to the salon. And so I have time. I have to just choose how I prioritize what is top priority for me. And that's where we, it's priority. Prayer is a priority, but it's not top priority. Meditation is a priority, but it's not top priority. So if I keep doing that, then where in the priority it is? From 1 to 10. If you're going to put it in 10, it will get knocked off, So it's about consciously shifting the priority. You have to shift it up. You have to pull it up. It's down there, now pull it up. I do once a week, now I will see that I will make it twice a week. I will make it 4 times a week. Gradually build up, until you make it every day.
And that is what will give us that threshold building also. It's fag end. I mean, I could go on talking. Ammaji, fascinated from the moment I saw you at Uttarkashi, and then kind of knew your work piece by piece. Just blessed to have found a giver like you. What will you want to leave us with as a message, Ammaji? What is it that you...
What can I say? Over 2 hours of giving messages.
Maybe something about your Gangetic effort or anything that you would want to talk to us about.
No, I mean, you call me a giver. I feel I have been the biggest receiver of this life. We are all, so much has been given to us. All of us have been given. We have been given a family. We have been given parentage. We have been given love. We have been given education. We have been fed when we didn't even know where to find food. We came with lungs, we were given oxygen. We came with an empty stomach. It's so many decades have gone by. I continue to be provided every 4 hours food. This is all given, isn't it? It's given that I can think. It's given that I can see. It's given that my ears work, that I can smell, I can taste, that my body takes me place to place. It's given, no? Given. So much is given. There is the big giver up there who has been giving us good relationships, good home, good friendships, good quality life, good thinking, good culture, good parentage. Given, 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 given. There's so much. What is not given? The beauty of the universe, the aesthetics, the trees, the birds, the peacocks, the cats, the green, the skies given, the rainbow given, the stars given, the sun given, the sunrise given, sunset given, waterfall given, rains given, given, climate given, seasons, changing seasons given. So much. We are just a simple life who are such big recipients of divine gifts to live this little 60, 70 years on this planet. What is 70 years in an infinite flow of time? For those 70 years, so much given. You're calling me a giver? Hey, I'm an apology of a giver. Whatever we give is not sufficient. The earth constantly giving us, receiving all our junk and gunk onto her. You know, the rivers receive all the garbage we throw in her. So what is our responsibility as human intelligent race, as a race, what is our responsibility? To give back. We have been receiving, start giving. As a child, I am a consumer because I need to become an adult. So every kid is very self-centered. They won't share even a chocolate with anybody. Very selfish. You're allowed to be selfish when you're a child because you have to grow up. So it's all for yourself now. But once I become an adult, I have to choose now. Enough of me. I am now ready to, I've been given education, again given. And Indian parents, my God, they will sell their shirt to educate their child. So when we receive so much, then I begin to choose to become a contributor. We have come, the very birth is nothing but shows we are indebted to earth. We have taken and taken from her. Start giving back. Give to the earth, give to your planet, give to your society, give to the plant kingdom. In their presence, we have oxygen. Otherwise, what will we breathe? Give to the plants. What does it take? Big tree, 1 mug of water it asks in a day. Give. Give. Just give. We have phenomenal, we are fountain of resources to give. We all are givers. Be a contributor. In fact, this wanting all mentality will disappear. When you see yourself as a contributor and you don't have one penny in your pocket and you want to be a contributor, a giver, that thinking is enough. The universe will start providing you, making you an instrument to help you fulfill your wish. I have to thank the universe for helping me becoming a giver. I have nothing. I'm a monk. I'm a beggar. I'm an official beggar in my country. I'm allowed by my culture to beg for food. A sannyasi can beg for food. But I don't feel I'm a beggar. I feel I'm a queen. Whoever I want to help and I want to help, I ask and so much comes. Where there is a need, look for, you see the need and then you start saying, where is the source? There must be some source to fulfill this need. And the source pops up, the need is fulfilled. What is this role of a sadhu? Just to connect, the source and the need, and then step away and move on in your life to do what you can. And I think that's all I do. I just want to be able to give because I have received so much. Nothing I do will be enough. The divine has been giving all of us. So it's very important. I would say if there is a parting message, as you say, a last message.
No, I wouldn't call it the last message.
I would say two things the Indian culture has taught me. The Vedic indigenous culture has taught for thousands of years, is there in our collective consciousness. One, to live in gratitude. Two, to know that all that is here is sacred and therefore revere. Sanctity of things, revere, respect. Gratitude and reverence is the backbone of Indian culture. You take gratitude away, culture is gone. Gratitude, You cannot have gratitude if you feel you lack. So automatically when you feel fulfilled, will naturally next thing is thank you. Gratitude, And so the more we enjoy our gifts of life, the more we will be at peace. We don't have to go chasing that extra buck. And in these corporates, they always talk about lack of these corporate ethics. The people keep changing jobs for their extra buck here and there. Extra buck is not going to make you happy. It's the loyalty that will make you happier. It's the human bonding. It's the dignity of a human relationship. Nurturing that. The deep joy that you receive in that. The gratitude, attitudes of gratitude. With your job place and so on, that loyalty. Those are qualities that we need to learn to cherish, Being a giver is the greatest privilege because you live in prosperity, you live in fullness, you live with the eagerness to share your fullness. What more we want in life, to celebrate life? Be happy and make others happy. That's celebration, and I think that's what spiritual wisdom is about.
Thank you so much, Ammaji. Thank you so much for all the blessings. And that's a wrap to season 1 of VWP Conversations. Every time I've heard Ammaji, it has left me in awe. Every time I've listened to her, I've assimilated something new. This is one episode that I will definitely come back to listen to her pearls of wisdom and revisit some of the thought-provoking questions. Grateful for this conversation and all other conversations that I have had in season 1. The team and I are very grateful to the love and support showered on us in season 1. It gives us the courage and confidence to start curating season 2, where we will attempt to bring to you conversations with women achievers across the spectrum. So do look out for us. Until then, please do like, share and subscribe to our page, The We Women Project. Thank you so very much.